Thank y'all very much, and give it up for Mandy for doing such a great job. You know, I'm seeing something today for the first time. That there's something back here that I've seen before. This young man is holding a sign that says "Empower Parents," and we are here to empower parents across the entire great state of Texas. And there's a sign that says "School Choice" in Texas. The time is now. But I'm seeing here today for the first time something new held up by these young men and women right here on the front. It says "Liberty for the Kids." Yes, this is about parents and parental empowerment, but we're empowering parents to be able to better educate their kids. This is really all about the kids of the great state of Texas. So Mandy and I, as she pointed out, we have toured across the entire state of Texas, talking to so many parents, educators, to kids, people across the state. One thing we know, Texas and Texans are ready for school choice in the great state of Texas. Now, there's several steps along the way. A big-time step was taken last week when the Texas Senate passed school choice for the state of Texas. One more step is all that it takes, and that is for the Texas House of Representatives to pass school choice for the state of Texas. And I'm here to tell you that contrary to what you may be reading in the newspaper, we are closer than we've ever been. My team today, yesterday, the day before, last week, my team, as we speak right now, in the governor's office, they're working with the Texas House of Representatives to hammer out a deal that will deliver school choice for you, your families, and for all Texans across our state. But listen, it would be an enormous mistake. But do you think that because we are working to try to finalize a deal in the Texas House, for you to think that the deal is done? The deal is not yet done. You need to be involved to make sure we get this across the finish line. Let me tell you why the Texas House has now come around to understanding the need for school choice. They've heard from parents around the entire state of Texas that, listen, they know from parents that our schools are for education, not indoctrination. We have so much ground to make up in educating our kids about math, science, reading, writing, things like that. Without going down these leftist, progressive, woke agendas, we need to educate our children to make them the brightest kids in the United States of America. As I've traveled around the state of Texas, I've talked to so many moms and dads, and one thing I repeatedly hear in every location I've been to is that they say, listen, I, the parent, know far better than any bureaucrat knows what is best for my child. And they tell me that one of their children actually goes to a local public school. Another child goes to a local private school. Another one is homeschooled. And what the parent always says is the pathway for each student is the right one for them. No one knows that better than a parent. We need to empower parents to make that decision. We've heard some tearful stories of moms crying. You know, a parent really wants to do their best for their child. It may be the foremost thing a parent has in their heart, and that is to do the best for their child. And there are some parents who are being denied that ability. Parents who have a children who has a learning disability of one sort or another. And they go and take their child to the school that is assigned to them by government. and try to get results and only to run into roadblocks and not have the ability to have the unique needs of their child be addressed. And you have these tearful mothers beg and plead with educational leadership. It could be a superintendent, it could be a principal, it could be a teacher, whatever the case may be. They're begging, please help my child. Only to be told, I'm sorry, we cannot help you out. But these are mothers, they can't up and move to a different school assigned by government, and they don't have the money to come out of pocket to pay for that bill. The state of Texas has an obligation to make sure that parent is going to be able to choose the school that's best for their child. We will deliver on that responsibility this session. One thing that we've seen far too often in our schools, unfortunately, is bullying taking place. And I'm not talking about a fight that may break out or a one-day skirmish or one mean attack online, whatever the case may be. I'm talking about being bullied all year long. And you know what happens to a child if they're bullied. It's going to set them back mentally, emotionally, and physically. That child being bullied, they're not going to be able to learn when they're in the school setting. They're fearful and they're frightful and their minds are racing a million miles an hour and worried about being bullied as opposed to learning what they need to be educated about. And think of the mom who's working 2 jobs and drops her child off at school in the morning and then leaves trying to work crying as she's driving to work knowing that her child is going to be bullied during the day. And then picking that child back up after school knowing the horrors that child has been through. And then after putting the child to bed at night, the mom crying herself to sleep, knowing what her child has been through and what her child is going to be going through the next day. No mother in the state of Texas should have to deal with that. Every mother in that situation deserves the right to choose the school setting that's going to be safe and right for their child. I want to address something that Mandy was talking about. I'm not going to get the words exactly right, but she said that some of these legislators say, listen, I understand where you're coming from on school choice, and I get it, but it's just not right for my folks back home. They're incorrect is the nicest way to respond to that. They are mathematically incorrect because mathematically it is the case across the entire state of Texas. If you are a Democrat, if you're a Republican, if you are an independent, you support school choice. The time for school choice is now in the state of Texas. But mathematically it gets even easier than that. Because candidly, if all that we have are just the votes of only Republicans in the Texas House of Representatives, school choice is going to pass easily. And any member of the Texas House of Representatives who says they're just voting their district and voting against school choice is incorrect. This is based on more than polling. This is based upon what was a ballot initiative the last time we had a primary in Texas, in every Texas House seat across the state of Texas. When that ballot initiative was on there 2 Marches ago, it showed that 88% of Republicans voted in favor of delivering school choice. They expect the House member they will be voting for in the primary to support school choice. They have an obligation. If they're voting for their constituents back home, their duty is to vote in favor of school choice and deliver for their district. Some people say, listen, this is going to set back education. It's going to harm our public schools. And what we really need to do is to fully fund our public schools. Let me tell you something. One thing that's been perfectly clear, that is, for one, as your governor, I provided more funding for public education than any governor in the history of our great state. But also, we are going to ensure that once we hammer out this deal and reach agreement on it, we're going to add to the agenda to make sure that we will be providing even more funding for public schools and a pay raise for our teachers across the state of Texas. But there's really something more quantitative, more objectively verifiable about why school choice is the best pathway. What I want to do as governor of the state of Texas, I want to make sure that Texas ranks number one for education in the United States. Number one is where we should be for our kids. And so let's look at this. There is a report that comes out every year that lists the top 100 public high schools in the United States of America. The state that ranked number one for the most schools in the top 100 public high schools in America is Arizona. Number two is Florida. What do those two states have in common? They're the number one and two states for school choice in the United States of America. School choice not only improves education for every kid and every parent who chooses that pathway, school choice improves our public schools just like it did in Arizona and Florida. The time for school choice is now in the great state of Texas. So Manny talked about something that I have to emphasize. There's only one reason why some of these legislators are afraid to vote for school choice is because there are paid lobbyists who get paid sometimes over $100,000 to come in here and to stay in constant contact with these House members and try to coerce these House members to vote against school choice. None of y'all get paid for coming to the Capitol to advocate for your children, but you're the one who are raising the children. But your voice matters more than any high-paid lobbyist in the state of Texas. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to advocate on your own behalf. I need you to contact your House member. Before you leave the Capitol today, you need to go by the office of your House member and say what your name is, that you live in their district, and you strongly support school choice in the state of Texas. But listen, that is not enough. Because, you know, when you go cast a vote in November, you have only one vote you can cast. But your voice is limitless. Your voice can be repeated. You go to that office today and let them know that when you go home tomorrow and the next day and next week, you call and make sure that your House member knows that you support school choice in the state of Texas. You must be just as relentless as the $1 million lobbyists who are getting paid to do this in the state of Texas. And let me tell you, when this comes to an end, it's going to be your voice, the voice of parents, the voice of these kids that's going to matter the most. Working together, we will deliver school choice. We will deliver a brighter future for every child across the entire great state of Texas. Thank you all. God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Texas.
Let's stand up and give a big hand for the man who is leading the charge